Hiya. Hiya, everyone. Thanks for joining me again. Lovely to see you all. Lots of familiar faces and names. Well, not faces, but names. And faces that I can relate to. So lovely to see you all here. And thank you very much for taking a bit of time on a Sunday morning to come over and see. I've got a little bit of an involved project to show you today. So I hope that you have got a cup of tea or a cup of coffee and you're sitting there with nothing much to do, really. So lots of different things to show you and lots of different things to tell you. So let's do our project first and I can then tell you all the latest news after that. So I'm going to use some old things, some new things. I like to do a bit of a mix and match. You could obviously do something similar maybe with what you have got in your stash. But if you would like any of the products that I'm showing you today, you can always pop over to the Facebook Live section. I know this is YouTube, on the website, which is maximumcrafts.com. So, few things back in stock, and I'm going to be using these. These are the small ink brushes, the blending brushes from Craft Artist. And they come in 2 packs. So you've got 2 large ones or 3 of the smaller ones. And I'm going to be doing something which really needs a small brush, which is ideal for these. So I'm going to be using these 3 small brushes. So I'm going to take them out so that we've got them all ready to go. I'm also going to be using the large stitched alphabet dies by Lisa Horton. Managed to get just a few, literally just a few more of these. They're really lovely. They're about 4 centimeters high, so just not quite 2 inches, but just a nice height. And they've got a very nice little stitched edge. So because they're not massive, you can, depending on your orientation of your card, you can get quite a large word in, which is handy. So I'm going to be using that. Then underneath, it's just all in layers, it's all organized here. I'm going to be using, well, I've already cut this out because it's a bit of a crucial piece of card and I didn't want to use another piece just for what I'm doing. So this is a piece of the satin card, but it can be any of the mirror card or anything like that. And probably not much smaller than that, otherwise you're going to struggle. So this piece is 5 by 5, and I've taken the plain nesting circles, and I've cut out 4 different sizes already of those for my project today. Okay, so I'm just going to be using this as a stencil, and I know and I'm sure that you can buy said stencil for such a thing, but I don't know where one is, and or if you can buy such a thing. And I thought, well, in all honesty, you can make something like this fairly basic yourself. So going to be working with an A5 card blank. So that's my card blank for today. And I've already cut out a couple of pieces. So this one, so the card blank there in A5 is 14.8 across that way and 21 that way, because basically it's an A4 folded in half. So then I've taken a piece and I've taken a centimetre for those measurements off all the way around. So I've now got a piece of card that is 13.8 that way and 20 centimetres that way. So then that gives me an even border, and I didn't want it to be I don't want a mat for this one, so I didn't want it to be right up to the edge, but neither did I want it to be super tiny. So I just felt that that was quite a nice even edge all the way around. So this piece here I've also cut to 13.8, the same width, but I've got to do something else and cut it down a little bit further in a minute. So I'm going to pop that to one side just for now. So first of all, I'm going to get myself a piece of scrap paper. Well, I say scrap paper, it's not really scrap paper. It's for the stamping platform. But that's not what I'm going to use it for today. So what I'm going to do is a little bit like the bouquet technique, which we covered, oh gosh, months and months ago, by using these little circles, but in a slightly different way. Okay. So if you haven't seen the bouquet technique, YouTube video. I can put a link up on for that afterwards, but this is a similar thing but different. Hey, we like that. So the colours I'm going to be using today, I'll be using the Distress inks, not the oxides. I prefer to have a more solid colour. And I'm using Squeezed Lemonade, and I'm using Peacock Feathers, and I'm using Picked Raspberry. I wanted them to be those fairly vibrant colours, but they're not going to be looking very vibrant on here. So they're going to be different. So I'm going to take my circles, and I'm going to work with one size circle to start off with, this big one, and I'm going to pick the Picked Raspberry. It doesn't really matter which one. I'm going to take one of my brushes, and I'm just going to keep a different brush for each one of the colours, just because I prefer to do it like that. Now, normally when we get our colour on there, we then go all over that, and that's our circle. But this time, we're not going to do that movement. We're going to pick up our ink, take off the worst on a bit of a side bit there, and I'm going to go around my circle and flick in from the outside. So I'm just flicking in my circle. So I've hardly got any ink on there, but in a second, when I remove the stencil, you'll be able to see hopefully that there is just a little bit of a moon shape there. Okay, so then I'm going to move my stencil again, and I've now taken it off the edge, if you see what I mean. I've got half of my stencil is on the piece of card I'm working on, but half is off. But I'm going to do my same flicking movement so that I'm just flicking onto that section there. Okay, and I'm going to move that away. Then I'm going to do one down here, but this time I'm going to change over to the Peacock Feathers, pick up my ink, and then I'm just going to flick that in. Now I haven't wiped the surface of my card to take off any of the excess picked raspberries that might be sitting there, because it gives a nice effect to blend a little bit of colour together. So normally, if I was doing this, I would be a little bit more careful. If I just wanted the Peacock Feathers colour to be there, I would have to be a little bit more careful. But I'm not worrying about that too much, because I want a little bit of movement there. I'm just flicking that in. Okay, then I'm going to come over down here, and I've again taken, oh, can you still see that? Yeah, I've going to take it off the edge. I don't want all of that full circle, so it's just random like that. Okay, so then I'm going to go with my next size down, and I'm going to possibly cross over some of them. Still got the same colour at the moment. I'm just going to cross over so that reminds me of, I think I'm going to look very posh here now, because I'm going to say it reminds me of a Venn diagram. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about? A Venn diagram. Gosh, that takes you back, doesn't it? Can't tell you what we wanted a Venn diagram for, but I do recall that shape of two circles overlapping one another, and something about the bit in the middle was the bit that you needed. I don't know what else it was. So I'm now going to pick some random circles in random places. And again, I've just got the Peacock Feathers one. And I'm just coming from the outside all the time. So I've only got a bit of a colour. Okay, let's go down the bottom here. Just picking those colours up, and different sizes, and mixing them over like that. So just giving a really gentle and subtle sort of, very much, I think, bubbles. They look very much like bubbles here. Well, that's the theory anyway. Do we like the theory? I'm going to do a tiny one there in the raspberry. So just scooting it from the edges bit more. You don't want anything too tiny, because otherwise it's very difficult to work with, to not get a solid, which you don't want. You don't want a solid bubble. So now I'm going to pop them down there. I'm going to go in with my squeezed lemonade. So I'm going to pick up a load of that. And again, I'm not taking the colour off. So because I've got blues and pinks on there, I might end up with what looks like a little bit of a green texture, but that's fine because it just comes in with the paleness everywhere. Okay, so just lots and lots of bubbles. I was going to start singing, but no, I won't. But I was going to say Liverpool anthem, but I don't even know if it's that either. But I'm just thinking of She's Forever Blowing Them, eh? Where should we go? Little one up there. So very much random. Use the different sizes to get a different sort of a look, a different texture as we're going along. I think I need one big one here of a yellow. And different colours will give you different looks. So if you were to go with some darker colours, you would get a much more stronger look. That's the word. But I'm going to make my card for my friend Karen, whose birthday it is. And I'm going to want it to be sort of like a pastel-y colour effect. So very nearly done with my colouring. Just add just a few more bits on the edges. You do want to get them, so a lot of this is going to be covered. So you do want to go round the edges and make sure that there is some there as well. Okay, so it's a very pastel look. And I think it's quite a nice look myself. I hope you do. Just noticed I had a bit of pink on there, so that's handy because I want to bring in a bit of pink and a bit of yellow. So yeah, okay. So you can see now, hopefully, that I've got lots of sort of bubbles on there. Yeah, forever blowing bubbles, eh? Yes, well, I'm singing that song as well, May. So yeah, in my mind, which is probably the best place to leave it, to be honest with you. Put them around the right way. So that's my template. Now, as I've got my distress inks on there, I can just wipe this off. So that I use it another time. So I'm not wasting that piece of beautiful satin card or mirror card that you've got, because as I can just wipe that all off and pop that somewhere safe, I can use that again. So that's handy. That will go in with my other stencils. So this is our base piece here. And then I'm going to bring in the other piece. Remember I said I'd cut another piece that was 13.8. I didn't say what the measurements are that way because basically it's a random colour that I'm going to be putting on, and I want to be able to just trim it down to whatever size I want in a little bit. So I'm going to load my brushes up and I'm going to put, well, I was going to say dollops, but I didn't fire off dollops of colour. Now, first of all, I'm going to go in with the raspberry randomly. And then I'm going to take my peacock feathers. And I'm going to, I'm not really blending it, as you can see. I'm just laying the colour down. I will be blending it in a little while, but just laying those colours down. And then finally, the squeezed lemonade. Bring some of the yellow. So I'm just adding them all over because I want a really random look here. So I'm adding a little bit of yellow in various different places, but not blending it at the moment. I will blend it in a second, but I just want to add it at the moment. So I'm using the same colours that I used before. And you could use oxides for this as well. I just wanted a more of a darker colour, whereas the oxides would give me much more of a chalky sort of finish, and I didn't want a chalky finish. So I'm just going to add to where I have done before, just add a bit more colour. So I'm bringing up the colours here now. And I will be trimming this down, so I'm not going to be using all the colours, all the area I should say. And then I'm going to come in with my pink. And because the pink is a bigger brush, that's the one that I'm going to do the blending with, because if you work too hard with the little ones, that little tiny one is perfect for getting into the little bubbles and bits and pieces that I wanted to do. But it's not so good if I wanted to blend the whole thing, because it would splay the brush a little bit too much, or it would the way I use it anyway. So with the bigger one, I'm just going over my whole piece again so that I've got lots of colour on there. So you could introduce another colour as well if you wish, but sometimes just by blending the colours you can get a different sort of a look. So it's just a random piece. Now I want to trim this down, so I'm going to get my guillotine, and we've already done it so it's 13.8 wide, which is what we want, but I now want it to be just 4 centimeters wide. So I'm just going to pop that in. I don't think I can pick any particular piece better than another, so that'll do for me. And then before I actually finish with that, I'm just going to get the pink one, I think, and just, what would be the word? Define the edges just a little bit. So I'm just going around the whole of the edges just to bring in a little bit of a defined look, so that it's almost got a border, but it hasn't. If you can see what I mean by that. In fact, I think I'll do some of it with this one, so that I've got some different colours. Are you still with me? Have you nodded off yet? Just bear with me. I just like this card. Well, I hope you do. It's a different card, and we like different, don't we, eh? So just building up that edge there. Okay, so I've now got very, very pretty rainbow type edge. So we don't need that bit anymore. Let's put the lids back on, although they're not really going to dry out very much, but we don't want to get in the habit of not doing that, do we? So let's just put them to one side, and the brushes as well. We don't need them anymore either. So now this little bit here is going to go in as a centerpiece, as you can see. And as I said, I'm making this for my friend Karen, and we're going to be using the alphabet set. So I've put them all out onto my magnetic sheet. I find that that's easier. They come in a sort of a little plastic bag basically, and I actually prefer it so that I can see all of my alphabet there. As you can see, they are 4 centimeters wide or tall, and so that is going to fit edge to edge on my little piece that I've already cut out. So I have already cut out the word Karen in white. Let me just pop that. Do you know, I've just seen doing this. My nephew's wife posted something today on Facebook. She bought a Happy Easter banner to put in her house, but it actually says Happy Easter, except the R is an H, not an R. She got it from the 99p past a penny shop. So because I've now put white, so I've got white background there, I've now put white name onto there. But hopefully you can see that actually, rather than that starkness of that now breaks that up, but really shows the person's name, which I think is a nice idea. So I'm going to trim off a bit of foam to add that to my base. So let's just do that. I'm going to do it. I'm not going to do that from my roll of tape because I find that that is a bit mucky in order to do. So I'm just going to do it like this. So let's turn these all over and pop a little bit of foam on. So we had a fantastic workshop yesterday with some ladies doing the rotational stamps. And we have got one more class of that next Saturday. So after that, I'm sure you'll be seeing some of the lovely projects that people have been doing. And then our classes for April will start on the 10th of April. And they are the 10th, the 17th and the 24th. So I'm going to show you in a second. I will show you what we will be using. And I will tell you what we're going to be making in terms of the fact that it's not a card. My little groups that come to me, they tend to sort of, well, half of them want to know what we're doing. Half of them are quite happy to just work with whatever we're doing. We have a great time. We have a nice old chat, and because it's done on Zoom that we can actually talk to each other, it is nice. Whereas here, you see, I miss out because I can't see what you're saying and do this all at the same time. Can you tell us what it is yet? What is? What this is? Or what we're going to be doing in the workshop? If it's for the workshop, oh, flick that bit. If it's for the workshop, all I can tell you is that it is not a card. But I will show you what elements we're going to be using. But you haven't nodded off, so that's kind of good, eh? Kind of good. I did say that it's going to be a bit of a project today, so I do hope that you're settled now and watching. Just need a little bit more. So we've got the N to do. Looks good if it's sitting up. Sitting up and paying attention. So there we go. One more piece and then we're done. I think it's lovely to have personalised cards like this. And I think this is just the right size alphabet for it. So I'm pleased that they came out with such a size for that. Sometimes they can be over large and then too small. And I think this one is just the right size. So that's got all my little bits of foam on. Just pick all these bits up. Oops, come here. Okay. So I'm going to take all my stickies off. And I'm just, for the first bit, I'm just going to place them there. I'm not actually pushing them down because I want to be able to make sure that they are in exactly the right place. So I'm just going to just sit them for a minute. And then I've got a chance to move them if I need to. Now, my friend Karen, she is like me and loves the little gnomes that we've had. Yeah. And we decided, my other friend Tessa said to me, had I seen the Easter gnomes? Well, no, I said, I have not seen any Easter gnomes. Because gnomes are sort of very popular, aren't they? And so we decided that really gnomes aren't just for Christmas, are they? Nah. So I'm going to move that all up a little bit. and then I can stick them down. So I have got a, well, not a brand new gnome, but a new gnome to you, possibly, because I don't know if it's a he. He is a small gnome in comparison to what we've had before. Okay, so let's get my card base, because we are getting there now. Let's put our lovely card onto here. So, oops. One with actually the lid on. Can you believe it? Probably won't. Oh, yeah. I suppose, really, if one was to leave the lid on most times, it would probably work a lot better, would it not? Don't you think? Right in the wrong way? Maybe. So let's pop that in. And again, so I've gone, well, obviously not white on white, but I have, for a change, not put a border all the way around. Just wanted a little bit of pale there. Then I'm going to put my big sentiment in with my name on. Picked up an extra bit of foam. Don't want the extra bit of foam, thank you. And I'm going to put that up here, like that. Okay, so then I have got my little gnome. Now, this is my little gnome, and it's just called Gnome. And if you will remember, just after Christmas, we had a new set of gnomes that were garden gnome and various different ones. Let me just show you. You can then see, she says, here's the garden gnome, the difference in size. Yeah? So this was the garden gnome that we were using way back. And this little diddy one is the gnome that I'm using today. So you can see the difference. So this one measures roughly 12 centimeters high, and this little one is only 7. So he's considerably the baby of the family. He comes with a little heart, the little word hello, and grumpy or happy. Whatever. But that's the one that we're going to use today. So I've already got him on an acrylic block, and I've got a piece of super smooth card. And I'm taking my VersaFine Clair in Morning Mist, or a grey ink, because I haven't got any black. We're going for pale colours. I don't want him to be overly dark, this, but it's quite a dark colour anyway. So just stamping that one up onto there. Now, ordinarily, I would do 2 because I want to do a second one, but I have already done the second one, so I'm not going to do that just at the second. So I want to put a bit of colour on him, and I've looked at the 2 colours that are my predominant colours. So I've got yellow, but that's a bit insipid, and I've matched them with some alcohol markers that I've got. So this one is a Graph Master, and it's number 67, and this one is a Copic marker, which is V12, and they seem to go well with what the distress inks come out like. So I'm just going to give him a very basic bit of colour. So I'm just going to colour in his little jacket or outfit. Gosh, these acrylic markers, whatever ones they are, they just are revolutionised colouring, haven't they? I mean, golly, I can remember colouring and it's showing all the lines wherever you were and everything, but this is just so good. So I'm going to colour his shoes in the same colour. I'm just using the one colour. Now, if you're a good colourist and you like colouring, obviously you can, and I have seen some really lovely ones of these, you can go to town with doing these colours, but I'm just keeping these basic. And just to give it a bit of a different colour, I've gone over these shoes twice, so that, or 3 times even, so that they are a slightly darker colour than his outfit is. And then I'm just going to go over with his hat. And he's got sort of like a patch on the hat, which I am going to colour, but I'm not going to colour the heart that's on there. So again, you could use this and colour in any way that you like. You can paper piece these, you can do all sorts really. That's quite nice. So I'm then just going to go over his hat a second time, just to blend it a little bit better. So you can see that I'm not being sort of, well, as I'm no colourist, I'm not doing it like the real good colourists do. And then I'm going to go over his patch. So I'm just going to lay down a couple of layers of ink on here so that this little patch is exactly the same colour, but I'm just adding colour to it. So you can see from the outside back coming that this piece has got more and more that I'm adding to it. And so I just want that to be a slightly darker version. If you had all the colours, you might be able to find a version that was there for you to do as well. I'm not going to colour any more of him in, but I am going to just cut him out. I think this one is a him because it's in blue, don't you? So I'm giving it a little white border all the way around, leaving a little white border. And I am turning the card as opposed to the scissors in order to try and cut this out as well as I can. I'll try and do it quite quickly. So I'm just giving that little bit of a border all the way round. In an ideal world, it would be even, but it won't be because I'm doing it. And then when it comes to this little pom-pom on the top of his hat, I am just going to do my best to cut into that a little bit because I think that gives a sort of a nice effect. And again, I'm just moving the card as I cut down with the blade of the scissors rather than anything else. But you do it whichever way you prefer. I just find that that gives an easy way of doing it. I'm just moving the card round, cutting that little bit down there. Chop that bit off, getting in the way. And round here. And then just straight across the bottom. I'm not going to worry about that little bit in the centre there. So, bringing my card back in with my one little gnome, and here's one I did earlier, which was with the, well, it's called Pale Lilac. So that one's going to go down the bottom there. So I've got my little gnomes ready to go. Pop a little bit of foam, I think, onto the back of them so that they can sit up a little bit. Let's put one big pad on there. I'm sure they've got a name, but I don't know what it is. So he's going to go down there. And the little lady is going to go up a bit more. They could sit together, they could hold hands. You could have a row of 3 of them, but we're going to have 2. So they're like that. And then finally, I'm taking my what's it called? Sorry, birthday stripes or strips, which has got such a lovely up to date, shall we say, wishing you a happy birthday to celebrate Today we celebrate you. Many happy returns. Eat lots of cake. Thinking of you. Best wishes. Blow out the candles. Have an amazing day. You are the icing on the cake. Have the best day ever, and sending happy thoughts. So yes, it's for birthday, but it does cover all sorts. And the fact that we've got Karen's name on there, I think, is rather nice. So I've already done that one. Whoops. I stamped it out with Versafine Claire in Warm Breeze, which is the sort of, well, I use it so much, I know, but it's this sort of aqua colour. And that can then go up onto the top there. So I'm just going to pop a little bit of foam again onto that one, so that raises it up. And then we're done. So quite an involved card to show you, but such a fun card to do. And I think it looks really effective with somebody's name on there. So I think I'm going to go to one side. So wishing you a happy birthday comes down there. So I could, let's put the glue back on there. I could go to town more with this. I could add, and I'm going to add, but I've got to find it first. Wait a second. I have got some lovely little, I will add them in a minute. I've got some lovely little sequins. Oh, here they are. And I want to add them, or not sequins, little gems that are all different sizes. And I just want to use those. So these are just clear gems that are all different sizes. And I'm just going to add a few random, some little diddy ones as well. I got them from eBay. Whoops. So they're probably one of those sort of import ones which we all love, but I think that just adds a little bit to it. We've got some different textures going on there. Yeah, gives it a bit more of a sparkle, does it not? Put them away, otherwise when I go to look for them they won't be there. So let me lift it up so you can see. So you can hopefully see that you've got a bit of sparkle on there now, but you've also got that very pale look, and you've got a nice name. Now, obviously, if you want to, if some, like for example, Maxine's not going to fit in there because it's too long, simply turn your card round, and then you could fit in quite a large name. Hopefully everybody's name, but I'm sure there's some people that have got a lot larger name that won't fit in there. But you perhaps you've got a nickname or something, but it's nice when you can fit in a large name, someone's whole name there. So, but that's on the way to Karen just in time for her birthday. So hopefully, I know she's not watching today, so we're okay. We are okay. So now then, I have got, as I said, the stamps that I've been using, the little gnomes, the birthday strips. We did say strips, didn't we? Yeah. And the alphabet, if there's any left, they are on the website. So lots for you to have a look at for them today. So that's the strips, and we had our little gnome as well. So let me just tell you. So I did say about the classes. So the workshops that are coming up in April. So the 10th is already full, but I have spaces on the 17th and 24th. And this is obviously the people that I know that are coming, that so whatever, we're not included in that. So we will be using these two, and you will be getting these two items. You'll be getting the finishing touches oak swag. So that's two of those dies there, and we'll be also getting this, which is the single mini scented bloom, a single stamp from Woodware. We have two options because we will be using brown distress inks. So we do have two options because I know that a lot of people have the distress inks. So there will be the two options of a price of the class with out without the ink or one with the ink, depending on if you need me to get it. There's other embellishments, and obviously you get a card and everything to go with it. So that is a Zoom one. So that isn't on YouTube, although you do get a YouTube link and you can watch it just by YouTube if you prefer. But one of the nicest things is that we can all join in and actually do it and have a natter and sort the world out, because we like doing that. We're good at doing that, aren't we, ladies, for any of you that were there? So that's for April, because I did see that someone was asking for that. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed today's little me mucking about, and I know we've been here a bit longer than we usually are, so I do apologise for that. If you're not doing anything this afternoon, do pop over to Hochanda, because John Lockwood will be on showing lots of tips and techniques to do with matting and layering, and I'm sure you'll be able to pick up something there. It's got a 2-hour show at 2 o'clock, so it's going to be great to have a look and see what he's all up to there, using some of the nesting dies and bits and pieces. So that'll be great. I will be back on Wednesday. Gosh, where's the day? Where's the time going? I should be back on Wednesday, which is the 24th of March, with the Wednesday Wonder, as we call it. I don't know why I called it those names, but something else for you to have a little look at with me. So I shall be pleased that you will be there. What are we making, Heather? What we're making is a secret. It's a project, but it's not a card. It's a project. So, okay. Do you know when the square stitch dot set will be in stock? I wish I did. It should be literally any day. We are waiting for it to clear customs and all of the whatchamacallits. What are they? Nesting dies. Not just those, the plain dies that we're waiting for. They are all in that wonderful boat that is, well, actually, I don't think they're in the boat anymore. I think they're just waiting to get through customs. So I'm hoping that they will be here any day. And as soon as they are, I will be popping them onto the website to say that they are back in stock, or onto Facebook. Okay, so don't forget, if you have not subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do so. Love to have you on board. Love to be able to have a chat and see what you're up to. Take care, and thank you for joining me, and see you Wednesday, hopefully. Okay then, bye.